The others were doing those press conferences, but Navarro, we now know, was quietly plotting in secret. And he was getting others on board and encouraging state legislators to overturn the results. They had a suspicious call on January 2nd with some of Trump's team, with allegedly Trump himself, important, and, very consequentially, hundreds of state legislators. This is in Navarro's contempt report, which I'll get to, but he told them allegedly, quote, "Your job is to take action." And you know what else happened on January 2nd? That was 4 days out from the insurrection. Some people may or may not remember this, but this is important. You might even hear about it next week in these hearings if they go through the timeline, because that same day that we now know Navarro was secretly trying to get partisan help on the ground to steal the election in states that Trump lost, well, Trump was dialing up one of those states, same day. This is what put him under criminal investigation even now, calling the Secretary of State in Georgia, demanding massive voter fraud, find me votes. Congress began investigating this. You have all these different strands. What was the rally really trying to do? What about these fraudulent electors, the state legislators I just mentioned you, trying to get Pence involved? And initially, questions were focusing on Trump aides and, of course, Bannon and Meadows. They both fought the House probe, and both were held in contempt, one indicted.
The grand jury now has indicted Steve Bannon for contempt of Congress.
For spurning subpoenas to answer questions and provide documents to the House Select Committee investigating the deadly riot.
The fate of Mark Meadows now lies in the hands of the Justice Department. This after the House voted to hold Donald Trump's former chief of staff in contempt of Congress.
And that was late last year, and that was coming into view. Why are certain people so intent on hiding and running? And are they the same people who were involved in something so bad that at the time they didn't want to talk about it in public? They had this secret plot. So here on MSNBC, we pressed Navarro on what was it? Exactly what was he trying to do?
We had over 100 congressmen and senators on Capitol Hill ready to implement the sweep. We were going to challenge the results of the election in the 6 battleground states. We were following the Constitution and rules of the Senate to simply get a recount of what the votes were.
Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No.
He says no. This will be adjudicated. The January 6th committee would later cite that very interview as evidence. It was one of the few times that, again, Navarro was publicly pressed on the plan. It's a very different way to garner information than just reading what he writes without being pressed on it, or the other place where MAGA fans had been hearing him, which isn't really an interview, but more of a public strategy session where he and his co-plotter, Bannon, talk up these schemes. There was this moment that came one day after Meadows was held in contempt.
You were the hero on January 6th, Steve. You were the guy who had the Green Bay Packers sweep strategy to go up to Capitol Hill. Pence is the quarterback. We had 100 people working on the Green Bay team as linemen, halfbacks, and fullbacks.
Bragging about overthrowing the government in public seems audacious, even for Steve Bannon, and even if you sprinkle in this incessant need to do sports analogies. But as they say, whatever. They both knew there were open probes going on. They both have government experience, and litigation and investigation is part of modern governance. But they went out there. I want to show you this. We've shown you some of the beat interview, but I want to show you the path here. They went out there and literally taunted Congress as feckless and acting without consequences.
There's been no outreach from 6 January Commission for Peter Navarro, and here's the reason. Because Peter Navarro, the first thing he'll send over is, hey, put this in the official record, which would be the Navarro report. The
dog that didn't bark.
The dog that didn't bark. No outreach. Bannon saying the government had not reached Navarro yet, and they drew their conclusions from that. At the time, maybe it was unclear if the government ever would get to Navarro. But the dog barked. It's barked more than once. First, hitting Navarro with a House subpoena. He defied that. Again, in looking for answers, we go to the sources whenever we can. We ask the questions, and we invited him on to discuss the choice to take it this far, to defy. And he came and shared his view of legal privilege. Why risk a legal battle or going to jail to refuse to discuss them with the committee under oath.
The president has invoked executive privilege. It's not my privilege to waive.
Do you understand that you've already waived it by discussing it? They want under oath. And number two, finally, Peter, are you prepared to risk indictment for defying the subpoena?
I'll stand tall on this.
He kept defying. Unlike, say, Giuliani or other aides who cooperated, the committee barked again. He's now, Navarro, just one of 4 people held in contempt. And House investigators in the contempt proceeding noted that he shred his own privilege case by talking about this in public as they made the case against him.
He has so much knowledge to share with a journalist, but he refuses to share that knowledge in response to a lawful subpoena.
He's written a book boasting about his role in planning and coordinating the activity of January 6th.
He's given multiple television interviews regarding our subpoena. He's failed to comply with our investigation.
Mr. Navarro insists that he is above the law.
This is America, and there's no executive privilege here for presidents, much less trade advisors, to plot coups. The courts aren't buying it, and neither are we.
The House held him in contempt after that. And then questions swirled, both from members of that committee I just showed you and analysts, about whether Attorney General Garland's DOJ would act.
What's the holdup at the Department of Justice?
The Department of Justice has a duty to act on this referral and others we have sent.
That was March, which isn't that long ago. Then Navarro filed his lawsuit against the committee. And now we're up to this last couple weeks. Because in that recent lawsuit, Navarro dropped a bombshell. He himself revealed that the Justice Department had hit him with a new criminal grand jury subpoena with the deadline of yesterday. Navarro did not apparently comply with that, but he did join me for a third interview. That's yesterday, last night, which would be his last interview before today's indictment. Now, I want to show you something that we're about to report for the first time tonight, because it's all brand new, and it goes into this context. In the final countdown to today's assertive arrest, Navarro was, of course, facing that deadline of yesterday. When he didn't show up, he was indicted under seal. And if you look at that actual magistrate document here, which I'm going to keep on the screen for you, this is dated June 2nd, but you see under the highlighted there, it comes in at 16:34 military time. That's 4:34 p.m. The judge approving treating Navarro like a fugitive because of the risk of flight or tampering, which is a new crime, that this would stay under seal until they got him, which they did at the airport. That 16:34 was 2 hours before Navarro would join us on air last night. So according to the filing, keep in mind when he was saying these things last night, he was already under secret indictment, which makes last night's interview unlike any we've done with him or any we've ever done. Wall under sealed indictment, not knowing that he would wake up the next morning and be arrested at an airport, handcuffed and shackled. He was telling us last night things like this.
I have responded to the Justice Department, and there will be ongoing interactions on that to be determined. If I were to go to prison for a year, which is what the contempt of charge could do to me, that would be about a fourth of my remaining life. This is why I'm fighting.
So let me respond. Let me respond to you.
And I'll take Biden and every single senior staff member in there.
And do what?
And do what? Them with subpoenas. And we'll start with the impeachment of Biden.
You do realize these investigators can hear you when you talk on TV. And they can. And the road is to what you see on your screen. Indicted today. Now, half of the people who've tried to defy the committee have been indicted. We don't know if the others await further processing or might be somehow trying to reach an accommodation. And hours after that, this morning, basically hours later from this development, Navarro was arrested, then appeared hours later in court. I want to show you this. This is brand new, airing for the first time. He walked out of that court proceeding after everything that got us to this point and said that it was unfair for the government to treat him this way, to treat him like some defiant fugitive, that they could have called him and asked him to peacefully come in rather than arrest him, handcuff him, and shackle him.
I was on my way to Nashville today. What did they do?
They didn't call me. Instead of calling me and say, hey, we need you down at court, we've got a warrant for you, I would have gladly come. What did they do? They intercepted me getting on the plane. And then they put me in handcuffs, they bring me here, they put me in leg irons, they stick me in a cell. That's punitive. What they did to me today violated the Constitution.
Mr. Navarro there, seemingly upset, saying he would have followed the government's request when he is being indicted on 2 felony counts for publicly defying the government's requests. This is larger than any one case or one person. Indeed, whatever one thinks of Mr. Navarro and his voluble style, that mindset permeated the last administration. Donald Trump had more aides indicted and convicted than any modern president since Nixon. And unlike Nixon, where the Republican Party and much of the country then rejected and adjusted after Watergate, there was campaign finance reform, Nixon was out in the hustings, there was a whole actual accountability movement that coursed through our politics and our laws. Now today, there are more people on the far right in the Navarro camp. The law doesn't apply to them. They are above it, and they are genuinely, earnestly angry if it is even attempted to be applied to them. This is more than privilege. This is more than arrogance. This is part of a political movement that has rallied around someone who we know flouted the law. The courts can decide whether he broke it, Mr. Trump, but a movement that celebrates this. This is what America is up against, and I assure you, it is a nonpartisan problem about whether law and order and democracy holds or not. That's what this is about.